you?
Chris Redfield, Alpha Team. We're here to rescue you. Richard, what the hell happened to you? Chris, this place... Get your team out of here. Demons everywhere.
Don't talk. He seems to have been bitten by a poisonous snake, but the size of the bite mark is huge.
It's not just any ordinary snake. Take my word for it.
He needs serum. I left it in another room.
I'll go get it.
Please hurry.
Hold on. I'll be back.
In the beginning of this comic, we see that Richard Aiken, the communications expert from the Bravo team, is still alive and roaming through the Spencer mansion in hopes of reaching help from the Alpha team, or at least find a member of his own team. But with zombies at every corner, he can only keep running and continue to reach out for help. While on a mission to investigate a series of disappearances in a remote mountain community, a STARS team runs into trouble. Frantic minutes after the helicopter carrying inexperienced Bravo team crash landed onto the grounds of an isolated mansion, Richard Aiken is running for his life, leaving the screams and unearthly howling behind. Aiken looks around the seemingly deserted room. He fights back the waves of nausea and uncertain fright as he senses the presence of something very unfriendly. Completely frightened of his situation, Richard says, "What happened? What were those things? Gotta get through. Somebody's gotta come get us. No one said anything about it. It happened so fast. Can't think." Take a breath, Rich. Try to keep it together. Headquarters, come in. This is Aiken. Come in. STARS, where are you? Come in. We're in trouble here. But unfortunately, there is no response. And to make matters worse, zombies begin approaching him from every direction. Richard says, "Damn it, Wesker, answer me. We need backup. Dewey's gone, ripped apart by something horrible. Becky was ahead of me. She's gotta be out here. Wesker? Why don't you answer me? Wesker! I know they're there. I can feel them." Suddenly, the communications cord gets torn up, and we then see that back at the STARS headquarters, Wesker is receiving a call, but it's not from Richard Aiken. It's from a mysterious man that works for Umbrella. He tells Wesker, "Hello, Albert. I hear that you sent a team out to the mansion to investigate strange sightings. Couldn't handle public pressure, eh? You know what the stakes are in this game. I trust that you have figured a way to keep our little project a secret." Wesker replies, "Just sit tight, Holden. I've taken care of the problem. Let's just say that Bravo team had a small but extremely lethal transportation failure." Holden then tells him, "Fair enough, Wesker. I feel that I should remind you that the company doesn't deal with loose ends. I'll expect to hear from you." Barry then enters Wesker's office and mentions that he saw his light on and he thought he'd stop by to see what he heard. Wesker tells Barry that they lost contact with Bravo team 20 minutes ago and now they have to assemble their team to go after them. Barry asks him why did he send Bravo team when he knew that they weren't ready, and Wesker tells him that they insisted in taking the assignment. He then kicks open a door where we see that this is where the Alpha team members sleep. Wesker informs them of the situation with Bravo team and that they must prepare to leave and meet him and Barry in the flight room in 15 minutes. We then go back to Richard Aiken and see that he is still running from the undead, but at the same time he is trying to fix the frayed wires to try and reach help, but he just can't get a moment for himself to fully focus on fixing it. So he tries to find a way out so he's not constantly being followed. But then he bumps into a statue with a button underneath it which triggers poison gas to fill the room. This would be the armor room where you find the Suncrest or jewelry box, depending on which version of Resident Evil 1 you're playing. Richard panics as he can't understand why there would be a poison gas trigger in that specific room, but also, it looks like someone else is near him. But with all the gas filling the room, there's no telling who could be on the other side. He asks if Becky is there, and if there's a way out, but there's no response, and he can't stay in that area any longer. So he continues running through the mansion in hopes of finding help, or at least a spot where there are no zombies nearby. Going back to Wesker, we see that he is giving the team some last-minute details before the rescue attempt. Wesker tells them, "We'll be heading out to Bravo Team's last reported location. Alpha Team will scour the immediate area in a search and rescue formation. We're also going to lay to rest all reports about monsters that the locals have been spreading. Got it?" The team agrees and they prepare to take off. But before they do, Wesker mentions one more thing. He tells them that he doesn't think this is going to be easy, so he wants them to be fully prepared for anything that happens. He even informs Chris to bring rockets for the rocket launcher just in case, because with all the reports they've heard, there's a chance that they may be up against something they've never seen before. He even tells them to make sure that they bring enough firepower to handle the situation. Ironic, as both Chris and Jill end up reaching the Spencer mansion with little to no weapons or ammo on them. Jill asks Wesker if he really thinks that there's something out there in the woods that they can't handle, and he tells her that judgment errors are something that they don't have the luxury of in their kind of work, and she'll soon find out as well. But most importantly, Bravo Team may have been green, but they were good, and not hearing from them makes him feel like they should be prepared for the worst. As the team prepares to leave, Richard has reached the attic, where there are no zombies that could stop him from fixing the frayed wires. He says out loud, "Searching for missing hikers. Right. No hikers here. Flippin' nerve gas. What next? Need to reach headquarters. Let them know. Horrible things. Just losing my marbles. Just gotta twist these wires. This radio's gotta work. Could be my last chance." Huh? Suddenly, he is no longer alone in the attic, as the giant snake known as Jan appears behind him, making this the moment that Richard Aiken ended up getting poisoned by its venomous bite across his chest. Sadly for Richard, there was nothing else he could have done to defend himself. He only had a combat knife to fight back, but even though you can actually take out the giant snake with a combat knife in the rebirth mode of Resident Evil DS, there was no way that anyone could have actually defeated this giant snake with the combat knife alone. By now, the Alpha Team has approached Bravo Team's last known coordinates, and from the distance, you can see that the Cerberus are nearby, waiting for their next meals to drop by. The Alpha Team prepares to get off the chopper, and this is where this story ends, and it is continued in the game. Now we know what Richard's last-minute efforts were before the Alpha Team reached the Spencer mansion. It's sad to say, but Richard Aiken was doomed to fail. From the moment he reached the Spencer mansion to the moment where he actually gets cured from the poisonous snake bite, he would still be locked on death's eyes. In the original Resident Evil, whether you reached him on time to give him the serum for the snake venom, he would still die, as it would be too late for the serum to work. But in the remake, you can actually save him from dying due to the snake venom. But the moment you reach the Neptune, you run into Richard Aiken, and he would be eaten alive by the Neptune.
Richard! Chris! Chris, stop! No! Richard.
This free comic book story came out as a prologue to Resident Evil 1 so that players would have a better understanding of what happened before the Alpha Team was sent to the Arklay Mountains. It was made 2 years before any of the Resident Evil comic books came out. This one came out in 1996. But one thing it got wrong was that the first page description says that the STARS stands for Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, but it should be Special Tactics and Rescue Service, not Squad. The movie of Resident Evil Apocalypse got this wrong as well. And yes, in case you're wondering, I prefer to call that movie Apocalypse instead of Apocalypse. But aside from that, this comic was intense. It mainly focused on Richard Aiken, which was a good thing since we didn't really get to see how the rest of the Bravo team dealt with the situation. Before the Alpha Team left the department, you can see that Joseph Frost was holding on to an Uzi. I think it's interesting to see this, as no automatic weapons were used in the first Resident Evil game. But I guess if Frost would have made it to the Spencer mansion, then maybe the Uzi would have been available. Also, when you look at the coffee mug that the mysterious man known as Holden has, you can see that the umbrella logo is an actual umbrella. Not sure if this was the early umbrella logo but it's interesting to see that it's not the iconic umbrella logo that we all know of. But speaking of Holden, there isn't much known about him, as he was only seen in this comic and the S.D. Perry novels. Maybe someday he'll turn up again, but seeing as he has never made an appearance in any of the games could mean that we might never get to hear from him again. Hopefully that isn't true. That's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, be sure to leave a like, share with others, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you'd like to see some extra content, or you'd like to see your name at the end of the videos, then feel free to support the channel by donating a single dollar to my Patreon. There are also additional perks for donating more than $1. The link is on the description, along with the link to my Facebook page, Tumblr, DeviantArt, and Twitter. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.